Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see you all. My name is Aleksandra Sekua. Good morning. I'm the Vice Director of Marketing Center at the University of Economics in Katowice. And I'm really happy to welcome you all at the second day of our event, Economics Without Borders. Yesterday, we had a chance to listen to interesting panels about transformation of regions, as well as the aspects of economics for ecology. Today, we have also two inspiring panels, one about economics and information technologies, and the second, that there will be a combination of art and economics. The aim of the project, Economics Without Borders, is to organize unique events with experts all over Europe and all over the world. Today we have guests from Romania. We have also guests from Iraq. So as you see, the geographic localization is quite broad. I would like to add that the project is co-financed by GZM Metropolis. It's also held as the part of City Region Academy Band of European City of Science Katowice 2024. So now it's time for the first session. The first session will be moderated by our Professor Małgorzata Pańkowska. And I would like to introduce our prominent guest of this panel, Dr. Omed Hassan Ahmed, Department on Information Technology, University of Human Development from Iraq, Professor Cheng Kai, Babes Bolai University from Romania, and Professor Ovidiu Bordan, the same university as well, Romania. The stage is yours.
Okay, hello, good morning once again. So my name is Małgorzata Pańkowska. I'm from University of Economics in Katowice, and I have in the panel three wonderful speakers. Professor Ovidiu Bordean, Babes-Bolyai University Cluj-Napoca. Next, Professor Cheng Kai, two universities, I think, in China and also in Romania. So it is internationalization for sure. And the last presenters is Professor Omed Hassan Ahmed, also two universities in UK and Iraq. So as we today, we have such a schedule that first the presentations provided by the professors, and after each presentation you can ask questions to professors, as well as maybe I use this opportunity to ask questions to them. So first presentation will be provided by Professor Omed Hassan Ahmed. Yes, please. You have this pointer. So, yes, Professor, please start. The floor is for you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Omed, and I have PhD in computer science. My specialty is in optimization and meta-heuristic algorithm. Today, I think I've chosen a quite controversial topic on image processing, and especially we call it AI-driven face recognition. Excuse me. Nowadays, image processing has been quite important in everywhere. So when we say face recognition, it's simply we can say it's ability of comparing or let's say matching a stored or digital image or video frames against, or comparing to a safe or stored image inside a database. So we usually use face recognition or image processing to identify or to confirm an individual, a person or human. So as I say, it can be through a photo, a digital photo, or it can be through videos or even in real time. We have many ways to use or to identify humans. We all know we have fingerprints, we do have iris, we do have voice recognition, and sometimes we have palms. So palms also working for, we all have a unique palm if you compare to each other. None of them are similar. So, but the most easy one, the most accurate one is the face recognition. It's a facial, let's say, architecture. The reason it's so important because it's so accurate, and also it doesn't need a guy to be present. So we can simply get the image and then compare it to the database. Because fingerprint, you do have need to be there to be identified. If I compare face recognition to fingerprint, obviously face recognition is a lot easier. As we say, we don't need a person to be there, to be present. And also it's hygienic. We don't have to touch anything. We don't have to interact with anything. You simply show your face and it will recognize it. And it's more accurate. The reason I'm saying it's more accurate because in face we compare 50 unique points, but in fingerprint we only use 20 points, so that becomes more advanced in accuracy. Again, for the voice, well, I came from the hot country yesterday and my voice is totally changed. So imagine if I use my voice because you've got such a cold country. So yesterday when I arrived, suddenly I got sick. I've got a flu. So my voice almost it changed a bit. So if I use I mean, if we use voice recognition, sometimes it will be affected by the weather. So also it's not accurate. DNA is so complicated. DNA sometimes it needs, some company they need 3 weeks to give you a result of DNA. Sometimes it takes like 10 hours to process it and to identify it. So in this case, the face is more accurate and more easier one to identify. If we talk about the face recognition in previous, I remember in 2002 when I was a bachelor degree in UK, we could get only a camera for 80 pound or 100 pound. It was only 4 megapixels. So previously we did have a limitation of getting a good camera because it was, you know, the advancements of camera technology was not very good. So the data requirement was very minimal and the data set were very small. So, and also the concern about the privacy implication was very limited. So people, they were not happy. Again, I remember in 2004, in one small city I was living in UK, the police enforcement, they start deploying CCTVs everywhere. And I can remember people were not happy and they used to say, we don't need all these CCTV cameras because they know where we go, they know what we're doing. So at that time, people were not familiar with, you know, data privacy. We talk about now, we have very advanced AI technology, especially deep learning algorithms, if you're familiar with deep learning, which allow us to get a very high accuracy with very low error rate. And then we do have a very good processing power. In a small laptop now you can get 64 or more than 64 gigabytes of RAM and the processing power is so high. So The modern algorithm is simply recognize an image, a face, even if you show a different angles. How it does work, we simply capture the image. It could be from video also. When we capture the video, we capture some frames, some videos, some pictures, and then we extract it. Maybe the system will make it as a black and white. We call it grayscale. And then we select some points. If you can see, there are some points on the nose, on the eyes. So we will compare these and we will match it and we will find out and detect who the guy is. Of course, there are some positive aspects in this field. Or let's see some good things. We all have mobile devices. You can see we can simply unlock our devices with only showing our faces to the mobile device. Apple Face ID and Android or Samsung facial recognition are the most advanced and simple, familiar way to do that. Payment and authentication, sometimes when you make a payment, simply it needs your facial ID just to secure who you are and is the transaction is correct or not. Some shops, especially in Canada, some shops, they use facial recognition. So to track the regular customers. So if you are a regular customer when you enter the shop, they will recognize you and they will treat you differently and they will give you, like, let's say, a discount. Patient identification, some hospital, they do use facial recognition in order to find out the patient and give the right treatment to the patient. Transaction, last 2 days I was in UK and I've noticed some of the cash machines, they do have camera just to make sure you are the person to use in the car bank, because sometimes you use ATM machine and the ATM machine simply can take your PIN code like a fraud in the fraud aspects. They will take your PIN code and simply they use it later on. But some of them, they add a facial recognition just to make sure who you are. Education, we simply implement this in our university in Iraq. When you enter to the classroom, because attendance in our country is so annoying, students will not attend in the classes. So in order to make them attend in the classes, we take attendance. I don't know how it does work here, but we enforce them to enter to the class. So what we do, we simply use reading names. We used to read the names if the student were there and used to raise his hand or her hand or simply say, yes, I'm here. But that was not a very good idea. So what we did, we implemented facial recognition for the students. So simply when you enter to the class, you are attended. If you don't enter to the class, it means you are not there. Campus security, I'm sure this campus also has a CCTV, so they will make sure there is no unauthorized person in the university, so they can control the campus also with facial recognition. Law enforcement, obviously, a police or law enforcement simply can track anyone within the city. If something happens, so simply they can find out who you are and where you are. So simply they can use it for catching illegal or, let's say, criminals. We do have some bad, let's say challenges of face recognition. We do have some positives and we do have some challenges also. The challenge is we have lots of CCTV camera out there, So simply they will collect and they store your biometric data, and they will not even asking you to do that. And potentially unauthorized tracking would happen. So they can simply track you where you are. Obviously, these data, when they will collect it, they will not ask you whether you agree or not. And obviously, they will take your biometric information and you will have no control of it. And if you want to take out your details or data out of their database, it's not straightforward and it's not easy to do that. I'm talking about I'm not talking about the European country, but some of the developing countries in Middle East, this is very popular, and the government will use it as they wish. So, which is not quite a good thing. Bias and discrimination, there are some algorithm, they will design it to racially discriminate people. So they can simply change the algorithm. So if something happened, they will not catch the guy who did the things, they will catch somebody else by mistake. So this is also happened, unfortunately, in Asia. This is a quite problematic, so will lead to misidentification and false positive. Especially in the United States, it's still a case and it's still a problem, especially on black community. They will target black males, and sometimes they will arrest because face recognition is not doing very well on Asian and on blacks. It works on white very clearly and very precisely, but for the black community, especially black male, it doesn't work very well. So that's why in the United States, they do have this problem, and always it's a big problem in everywhere. Sometimes they do arrest people after 3-4 days and they will apologize, sorry, you are not the person. So simply, also in China, it's a case. The ugly part, I'm not going to talk about it too much. The ugly part is CCTV camera is everywhere, and they are following us everywhere. This is a very, very ugly part of facial recognition. Simply, they store your data. They track you, they know where you are, and they know what you're doing without asking you. And I'm talking about those countries, they use it for their advantages. In some of the Middle East countries, facial recognition becomes a very, let's say, power or strength behind the government to stay on the government, because people cannot go for protest. So simply they know who you are and you participated in the protest. Freedom of expression is very limited. You cannot talk, you cannot say anything, because simply they have your data. An afternoon, or let's say at night or day after, they will catch you. So this is a very ugly part of facial recognition. And in conclusion, let's say we need to have a balance between these problems, and especially, as I said, I've been living in Middle East country for a while, and it's so problematic. You can't say anything, you can't do anything, they will follow you, and they will catch you. Thank you very much. I don't want to talk too much on this. If you have questions on how it works, how this is implemented, or any questions, you're more than welcome to do so.
Okay, thank you, Professor. So, do you have any questions? No questions from them.
That means everybody understood. Good.
Yeah, yeah. Surprising. Okay, so there is a question. Excellent, please.
What is the
As I said, it's an algorithm. They do it in the way they want. I think, I remember I always had a joke with some of my Chinese colleagues when I was doing bachelor degree in UK. I used to have 6 friends. They were all same looking. Honestly, I couldn't distinguish between them. The shape of eyes, they were always similar. White people, I think, there is a bit difference in shape of nose, in eyes, and in ears, or things like that. But the black communities, they always say it's deliberate. They design the algorithm to target the black peoples. This is what they say in the United States. And I'm not sure whether it's true or not. But also in white females, there is lots of mistakes. I remember again 3 days ago, I was in the queue in the airport. When you arrive to UK, you simply scan the passport and the door will open and simply you go. A white woman before me in the queue, and she scanned the passport 3-4 times, look at the camera, didn't work. So she say go to there. Somebody says, and you can visit somewhere else or they can check it manually. So the research says it's very precise on male men, white male men. It's not very precise. Sometimes it does mistake on women's, but on Chinese, Asians, and on black male, it's so bad. And I don't know whether they designed the algorithm to do that, or it's just because the shape of the faces are the same. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
I have a question also.
Yeah.
I have a question that when you are using... Hello, my name is Ilona Plak. I'm working here as a teacher also. And my question is, were you providing the faces recognition at the university or at the school? Do you need to provide the photos, the data of the child's at the start, they are starting to go into the school, or that the system just catching the faces and can recognition the people that are learning at this school, or can also recognition people that don't, yes? So foreigners, strangers, etc. Do you need to provide the data before, the photos?
Yeah, basically face recognition, it works on some points. So we call it noodle points. So the distance of my eyes, the distance from this point to this point, the shape of my nose, the height, the width, mouth, ears, and cheeks. This is how it works. They will calculate this. So after 18 years old, or let's say after 19 years old, it's very rare to change. Because if you take a picture of a child, and after 18, 19 years old, obviously it's totally changed. But after 19 years old, 18 years old, the point will remain the same. So in our university, what we did, we stored the data. We had a department, so they used to take a picture of the student in 10 ways, in this side, that side. So we stored about 10 to 12 images of each student. So it worked very well. So simply when they enter to the class, it will recognize it. We put the camera on the top. It's a video recording camera, but at the same time when it enters, it takes 52 frames. That 52 frames, it will be, it will take the, let's say, the measurement. We call it, how can I say it? We call it a unique signature for that person. So when it took us, it will compare it to the database, and simply it knows who is the student, and simply it will record it as attendee. So we don't have this problem because the student will not attend in Iraq. I don't know. I don't know how it works here, but they will not come to the classes. They will come, like, if you have 2 classes a week, definitely one of the classes are not there.
Thank you. And one question more is, are you collecting? Do you collecting the pictures after graduation of the child, of the students, or you deleted the story?
We do it in the first stage when they arrive to the like induction day. We do it in the induction day. We take the pictures of the student and we will tell them there is an agreement. We use this because we know we are not going to attend in the class, so we will take the pictures and we will find out if you come in or not come in. That's what we do it.
But after graduation, or
after graduation, the system will destroy the images simply, because some student bachelor degree in our country is 4 years. I don't know whether it's 3 years here or not. We do it 4 years. So after 4 years, some of the students they will not graduate. So sometimes they need another year to graduate. So whenever the graduation happens of the student, the data will be deleted permanently.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, please.
So things like heavy makeup or like beauty surgeries, does it affect?
No problems.
Really?
Because yeah, even your glass is not going to make any problems, because inside your glass I can see your eyes and I can see the edges of the distance between your glass. Between your eyes. So makeup, it doesn't make any difference, because I am taking the edges, the distance, the width, so it doesn't work. So, it doesn't make any problem. Sometimes black glasses, sunglasses, it does make problem because your eyes is not shown inside it. So in that case, the face recognition, it will ignore your eyes. It will work on your cheeks, your mouth, your nose and your ears. So makeup, no problem at all.
What about beauty surgeries? It can change the face structure.
Yeah, if you make some plastic surgery, of course it does. In that case, I remember I had one student, he had a nose surgery. I think the first time they put something on their nose to heal it. I don't know what is it. But after the healing, through that time when she used to introduce the class, the system will not recognize it, and we used to do it manually. So after the surgery, when everything was good to her, we take some more picture on her and then put it back to the database.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, I would have a question concerning the gathering these images. So we would need massive image databases. So how do you think how to store this data?
Sometimes people, they think, for example, if I take an image of somebody, I have to compare it with trillions of images inside the database. No. So let's say I take one image and I have to compare it to the database. It has trillions of photos. How can you go through all these? It takes 2-3 days to do that. No, it doesn't work like this. As I said, we have noodle points. So that noodle points becomes a unique signature of the person. So that unique signature will be matched to one of the images. It's not going to go through all of them. It's only matching. So that unique signature, there is a unique signature of that unique signature. So if it's there, yeah, it's a person. That's how it's going to work. We're not going to scan or, let's say, compare it to each of them. We only do one match, and the one match will find it out. The deep learning algorithm is quite powerful to do that.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Yeah, and also there is one more question concerning the data usage. Maybe you see any opportunities that we can apply machine learning and I don't know, analysis concluding about the certain regulations in that data. You recognize the race, and you can do a research for anthropology, taking into account this data gathered in this repository.
If you talk about the regulation, I don't know whether I got the question right. In Iraq, when we decided to do that, the government says you need to make an agreement with the parent. So we used to distribute a form. So the student used to sign it, and the form must be signed by the parent also. So they used to take home the form. Well, first of all, the student will sign it, and then they will take it home, and then the father or mother of the student or one of the parents will agree, I don't have problem to take my student photos, because as I say, we take a lot of photos. But when we delete also the photo after graduation, we will send a letter to the parent. We have destroyed their data in our database. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I think we can thanks Professor for the interesting speech. Thank you so much. Yes, so now I think we can invite Professor CNTI. He will have the speech on blockchain technology in China. So please, Professor, floor is for you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy today to be here, Poland, to Katowice, first time to this university, and to share with you about the blockchain and also its application. It's a real situation in China, which is, for me, I think also very interesting, because everybody everywhere is talking about China, its economy, its culture, its influence in a lot of aspects. And for me, actually, since I came to Europe, I'm in Romania already 10 years. So I studied there, now I work and I live there. And actually I can have a lot of new aspects and perspectives to see how the economy from China or its impact from China in Europe, in Romanian. So actually this blockchain, I think it's just the one aspect, one point to see how the Chinese thinking, thoughts in economy and other aspects. So about this blockchain, I just mentioned little background about it. So in 2008, there's one person, actually this name, Nakamoto, actually until now nobody confirmed who's this, what is his real identity, but his paper about peer-to-peer payment financial system is the foundation of this blockchain technology. And after that, we know there's a cryptocurrency named Bitcoin was born, and now its value is quite high. And I think recent days, the price of this Bitcoin has close to $75,000, just one Bitcoin. And after that, in 2014, there are more platforms give opportunities for more people to develop the blockchain, use this to have more private blockchains. So when this idea was given, this guy, Nakamoto, he wants to have a public blockchain, which means everything on this chain should be public and everybody can access to this system without any restrictions, without any identity confirmed, and all the resources, data on this system are public. So that is the goal. Actually, until now, it's still hard to realize, because it means the trust between people, all of us should be very strong. Then we trust that everyone, the identity, the resources, the data kept on the blockchain. I put there, you can check, and you put there, I trust completely what you put on the blockchain. So actually, this is quite to realize. And still, we are now more focusing on the consortiums or that private blockchains, which is actually within some companies or in a company. And until now, we have more like the website Freepoint and Metaverse, which is used the blockchain technology to have a very big virtual world. And inside, we can develop more business activities and to realize more values. So from that small picture, you can find that the coin, the red part, like the center of a system, has been reduced its power to more connections between the users or the people inside this system. So in blockchain, the most important idea should be the decentralization, which is the decentralization should be the key characteristic of this technology, but decentralization not means to just completely to erase, to eliminate that center, but to reduce its power, the center's power in this system, and to make the other members or other node has similar function as a center, and as a center should not be permanent in this system, can be changed from one to the other. So decentralization is like the goal of this technology, and this intermediation is like the way or the process to reduce the influence or the power of the center to have more values to be produced directly from between the members. And of course, in order to establish such a system, the trust is the key. How to establish the trust is the key topic in the virtual system. And with this technology, people believe that it's easier to have to establish the trust because the technology provides such characteristics like everything should be distributed, every data, all the data recorded on this system should be immutable, cannot be changed, should be transparent. Everybody or the member has the access to the blockchain, can check that and make sure, ensure the data on the chain is reliable, is safe. Okay, I would like to see there are three main types of the blockchains: the public ones, the consortium, and the private ones. So the public one is like the ultimate goal of this system for all the members in the internet world can enjoy it without any permission, restriction, identity checking, everything, but to have all the reliable, trustable data. Of course, it has a long way to achieve that. Nowadays, all the companies or countries, they are all focusing on the development of the blockchain in between several members or just in one company. In order to show the blockchain application in China, I also would like to introduce a little that the Chinese economy nowadays, how it is. And also this not only for the blockchain, its application in China, its understanding. Also maybe you have some other research related to the Chinese market, Chinese economy. Maybe it also has some benefits. So yes, in China, that the basic system of economy is that the public one is the key one, and the other private companies, they can exist, but they have to follow the decisions or the orders from the central government. In China, all the important sectors, the industries, including the electricity, internet, the gas, oil, construction of the basic constructions, everything, they are state-owned companies. And even in some company, they have quite free or more power. There's still a department named like the CPC, the Chinese Communist Party department, which is like maybe these members in the department, they don't need to involve in some work, but they are very important to have a decision to decide if the company can go some directions, if their policies or some works the company is doing is okay or not. Okay, so this is the basic Chinese economy's character. And of course that in China we say this is a capitalism country, but still it's a state-owned country. The government has the absolute decision in all the investment or the big projects. Of course, it has a very rapid growth in nowadays. And after the pandemic, actually in China, it is encouraged to change its consumption from outside, from other countries, gradually to the domestic consumption, which means to encourage, improve the consumption ability of all the people, like middle class, like even the common, like we see the people with the lower income, and encourage them or have some policies that them can buy, can cost something inside of China instead of import. Right, and also the technologies now in China, we see especially that electricity cars, which is attracting the attention from all around the world. But yes, with these aspects, advantages, the environment actually in China is also suffering a lot from the fast development of economy. And in this case, about the blockchain in China, most people, I think, once mentioned the blockchain would like to concern the Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrencies. So actually, this not only the Bitcoin, all the other cryptocurrencies, they are forbidden in China, which are illegal, announced by the Chinese government. Why? Because they believe this cryptocurrency is not safe enough. Maybe people can use that to have a lot of illegal, like the money laundering with these cryptocurrencies, because you don't need to register personal information when you are doing trading of cryptocurrencies. And I think more important is that this cryptocurrency based on blockchain can weaken the function or the power of banking system in China, because this banking system also is a part of government in China. Actually, they are like one unit. We cannot figure out them into two things. A lot of policy decisions made just by the central government, and the banking system only the organizations to implement, to carry out the decisions. And also, in order to deal with cryptocurrencies, the Chinese government would like to have a digital currency, electronic payment, which is like digital Chinese currency, and use this way to have some Chinese characteristics currencies, but which is also like digital. So of course, those payment, those digital currency would be registered, would have a lot of records, very detailed. Compared to cryptocurrency, government will believe that the criminal actions will not happen so easy with the supervision from the centralized or country system. So here, I also would like to give some analysis of the blockchain development from the perspective of Chinese traditional thoughts, because China has a long history. And along the history, even there are a lot of revolutions or some changes in this nation or this country. The ideas actually, which are existing for thousands of years, and even some revolutions said we should eliminate that. These are not good for a modern, for a domestic, for economic world, modern country. But still, after so many years, it's not so easy to eliminate that. And we know PRC, nowadays we say this China, PRC, People's Republic of China, was founded in just 1949. So until now, actually just 70 more years. So for the traditional thoughts existing for thousands of years, not easy to be mitigated, and still have a very profound influence on all the aspects, including economy. So among the traditional thoughts, two are main thoughts. One is the Taoism, the other is the Confucianism. I think more or less you heard about that. And actually these two, they are very conflicting to each other. For Taoism, it is believed that we should not to influence the natural rules too much. Everything has its own rule to develop. For example, the economy. For example, the financial system. It's produce, its development, its termination, all follows the rule of the world. And as a human being or as a citizen, we should not influence those rules too much. So actually, this one is quite, to some degree, quite good for the blockchain thought, because blockchain is to decentralization, right? To have the influence from the center less, and to make the function of equal node, equal members more. Unfortunately, this Taoism is not the main ideology in Chinese history and for the government. So along the history, all the rulers, the emperors, they try to reduce the influence from Taoism. It's existing, they follow it. Some people still like it. A lot of writers, poets in the history, but for government, for Chinese rulers, they prefer the Confucianism, which is completely meets their request. They need some reasons to let people believe they are existing, the government's existing, the emperor's power, authority are quite reasonable, and the Confucianism exactly provides those reasons and make them to a very high level. So, for example, in Confucianism, it is believed that the government to have a very good relation with people, but still need a higher superiority, and the people should in a lower position. And this is normal as the existing of the sky, the heaven, and the people under. And in ancient time, people even treat the government, the ruler's behavior to the nature, means that if there are some disaster happened, means the ruler is not a good one. He has some mistakes in his governance, resulted in the natural disaster. And another very interesting that there's one representative from Confucianism named Xunzi. He believed that people were naturally born evil. And in order to establish a society full of people like gentlemen with morality, he asked to have a lot of laws and regulations to control, to make people to lead them, to guide them from that evil side to a moral one, to a good side. So from this point, actually, all along the history, people believe that the regulations or the criterions, they are quite important for the development of something new like the blockchain technology. So from this point, we can understand why in China there are a lot of criteria for the development of blockchain compared to other like Romanian or other in Europe, like US. Like US, they more focus on the technology itself, but in China, it's focusing on its the blockchain's application, and to give a lot of criteria from the central government, from local government, from the organization companies themselves. Even some are still under the designing, writing. So this is a very big part in China for its for blockchain's development, and it has the reason from the history. And besides the criterion, we can see that in China, blockchain has more integration with other existing systems. For example, the AI, for example, the IoT, the Internet of Things. Also in China, that the more and more colleges and universities started the courses, and it means that it developed quite well, and they need more talents who has knowledge, who has maybe experience about blockchain's application. And of course, that trust establishment is a key part of this topic. And this technology, we know, is a tool, very good tool to solve the problem of trust establishment between new people. And in order to realize this, a lot of laws, regulations were given by the government. And people believe that in China, the best way to promote its development, the blockchain's development, that is based on the trust between people and the government, and then to develop the other related technologies in blockchain. So the foundation still is on the people and the government's link. Okay, and right, there are more applications. We can take a look here. Some applications in China in 2020, and still the financial part that is the main one, but I just said that the cryptocurrency is not allowed. So if someone would like to have some blockchain business projects in China related to Chinese market, all these aspects, domains, sectors you can consider, except the cryptocurrency, which is impossible there. And for the others, quite welcome in education, in resources distribution, in those aspects of people's life. All of them are quite welcomed. Okay, so comparing the development of this technology in Europe and China, that the main difference, of course, that's the policy support from China is stronger because we know the characteristics of Chinese economy is mainly or just absolutely decided by the government. It has ultimate power to decide its development. Like in 2019, is the Chinese president. He said that blockchain is a very emergent, important technology, and all the enterprises in China should catch this opportunity to have more good results. So after that, actually, for example, here, we can see after 2019, there's a very big increase of the investment, also the numbers of blockchain-related companies. They started to have all the research, and the university started to have started the courses just because of that speech of the Chinese president. And very interesting, because of that, the share price of Bitcoin also increased that day after the speech, after from the perspective Chinese government started to develop to promote this technology application in China. Right, and its supervision is quite strong in China, not only for blockchain, for all the new things, for all the, namely security, right? Like the internet security in China is quite strong. So for its development, actually, the main companies, the big companies, they have the power or the ability to do the research, to do experiment. But for startup, like in Europe, in US, these new startup companies can do the research to have innovative result in this aspect. Actually, in China, is still quite hard. Yeah, and the research and the application domains in China also very various. We can see profound, but not the cryptocurrency. Okay, so actually from here we can have some main idea about this very innovative and interesting technology application situation in China. The limitations, of course, there are some comes from its innovative, its understanding between the decentralization and the centralized administration, like the ability of research, innovation, these are still existing. And yes, I think these are also the future research directions about blockchain application in China. So thank you for listening this my topic, and if you have questions, I would like to share my opinions, of course.
Okay, time for question. Thank you. Questions? Any questions? So from audience? I think the topic is very difficult for all of us, the technology. Anyway, maybe you could give us an example of application of this blockchain technology, like, for example, in the supply chain management. Do you see any?
Yes, there are a lot of, actually, every year, like in China, they give the good examples, good applications of blockchain. But for me, in China, that this is purely technology. It's not something at when people talking or here in Europe like to change the financial system completely. So, for example, in the supply chain, the data, for example, the food or the vegetables, all the data can be recorded on a chain. We can name it as a vegetable chain, fresh vegetable chain, and you can find, for example, when this apple was taken, where it's taken, how long it can be kept, and from which farm or place to the supermarket. Everything can be searched, because the data on blockchain should be traceable and immutable. It's safe and reliable. So when we go to other sectors like insurance, like education recording, the certificate recording, I think this also can be used. Yeah, make sure the data are reliable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is, I think, the future maybe for our companies also to develop this blockchain technology in the supply chain. Also, there is, I think, the great opportunity for development so-called decentralized autonomous organization. Have you heard about the comments?
Yeah, I think this in China is, for me, quite an interesting topic because just talk about the characteristic of Chinese economy, and we know the Chinese government plays an absolute powerful role in it, but blockchain try to decentralize the relationship between the center and the other nodes, other members. So for it, it's quite a challenge, I think, for the Chinese government to have a lower or not so weakening power among the relationship with other companies during their cooperation. And until now, I think they still try to control this technology and try to use it to serve them, not really authentically to use this idea, this concept of decentralization, like to build a more decentralized system. Mm-hmm. Yes, so for me, maybe in the future, they would like to give more, not only policies, the real actions to realize more decentralized or this, the intermediation, this process let all the work can be easier, fluent, and reduce more cost during those work. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any comments, questions? Okay. Okay, so thanks once again. And
thank you.
Yeah, the time for the last presentation provided by Professor Ovidiu Bordean. Yes, Professor, the floor is for you.
Thank you so much. Dzień dobry. Good morning, everyone. It's always a pleasure to be invited to the University of Economics here in Katowice. It becomes almost like a second home. I think it's like, if I remember well, I think it's the fourth time when I come and visit your university. And like I said, always it's a pleasure to see again old friends and meet new people. Right, so as you may see, the topic of my presentation is related to technology, is related to education. Before I dive into the topic, I would like you to answer two questions. So please indulge me and raise your hand, those of you who used any generative AI tool like ChatGPT, for example, in order to prepare for any sort of assignment that your professors gave you. Almost everybody. Okay, so it seems that very many of you have used it, like almost everybody. And obviously this is, I guess, no surprise, at least right now in November 2024. But still, I have a second question for you, and that is related to your intention of still using it. If, let's say, the rector of the university comes and says that starting tomorrow, we are going to ban any generative AI tool. So you cannot use it. So would you still try to make use of it and prepare your essay with this? Raise your hand, those of you who will still do it. All right. So This time, not so many, but still there are some people who said that they will still make use of it. And probably that has to do with the fact that it becomes part of our lives. We understand the advantages that it provides, and it clearly helps us to save time and probably better prepare for the tasks that we have. Since it was, and it still is, a presentation related to AI, you may see there a picture of me, which was created with the generative AI tool. And that's the way, at least these large language model machines believe I'm going to look by the time I'm going to retire, and hopefully it's not going to be later than 2046. Now, the things that I would like to share with you this morning are related to some findings of 2 studies that I did together with my colleagues, and obviously with the help of our students. And before sharing these kind of insights related to these 2 studies, I would like to give you a bit of a context related to why we did these studies, what motivated us to do these studies, and yeah, afterwards, in the end, I will gladly share some conclusions and ask any questions you may have. So, when it comes to ChatGPT, if it were to refer just to ChatGPT, this is one of the very first articles that has been published on ChatGPT and higher education. It was published by the Nature magazine in December 2022, and it was an article that raised questions and concerns regarding the fact that ChatGPT is a very powerful tool that can write very smart essays, and the author of this article was wondering what is the extent to which students, for example, right, are going to make use of it, and the way in which they are going to use it. Obviously, she was raising these concerns related to the ethical aspects of the tool. Since then, many things have happened when it comes to the research that has been done over ChatGPT and the way in which students are using it, even the way in which academics are using it and scholars are using it. And here is just a proof of the tremendous impact that this research had over the past few years. And these results basically reflect studies that have been conducted and that looked at various aspects related to ChatGPT, not only ethical aspects, but the way in which, or the factors that motivate students to use it, the factors that influence the performance of students in school, so on and so forth. So, given that, I was very curious to hear my students' opinion regarding the extent to which they are willing to use it. So, with that in mind, I designed this first study, and the research question we tried to address with this first study was related to the driving factors for adopting ChatGPT by students in their essays, in their assignments, even in their dissertations. So with that in mind, we started to look at some theoretical models, and obviously we had to address one of the, let's say, most used and heavily cited models that exist in the literature, and that is the technology acceptance model, which basically shows the willingness of someone to adopt a new technology on the account of the perception that he or she has with respect to how easy it is for him or for her to use it, or also the perception regarding to the usefulness that that new technology brings. So this is actually a result of a PhD thesis that was published by that was done by Davis in the mid-80s. And since then, this technology acceptance model has been highly used in order to understand why people are using the technologies that they are using in various contexts, including the educational context. A second theoretical approach was the planned behavior, or the theory of planned behavior. Again, here, Eisen, the proponent of this theory, explained the fact that someone's behavior is driven by the familiarity with that aspect, is driven by the social pressure that comes from peers, that comes from family members, that comes from professors in an educational context, for example, but is also driven by the perception that someone has regarding how well, how good he or she knows that aspect. And again, if this is not necessarily a model that supports a technology acceptance, it was still used in trying to figuring out what is driving people to use new technologies. So basically, we put together these two theoretical models, and the ultimate goal was then to see what are these antecedent conditions for students to use ChatGPT in their academic assignments. This first study was carried out about a year ago, and we used a sample of 155 students from my faculty. So all these were students that were studying business subjects. And another thing that needs to be emphasized at this point is that at the moment that this first study was carried out, there were no guidelines, no regulations issued by the university with respect to how our students should use ChatGPT in the classroom or for their home assignments, for example. So here is the conceptual model that incorporates both the technology acceptance model and the theory of planned behavior. Yeah, we use the smart PLS software to provide the structure equation modeling in order to understand the impact of these variables on the intention to use this new technology. I'm not going into details regarding this. I'm just going to show you these results of our study. First, a bit about the respondents. So those students who willingly participated in the study. As you can see here, the sample is quite well balanced when it comes to their level of studies. Not so well balanced when it comes to gender. Probably that's because also there is a higher majority of female students in our faculty. So that might explain this unbalanced distribution of the sample in terms of gender. Right now, when it comes to how often students used these, you can see here the results. You can see that there were almost 20 students out of those 155 who said that they have never used ChatGPT, and again, this is October 2023. Going back here in this room, I believe there were just maybe 4 or 5 people who didn't raise their hand when they were asked about using this. Right. Then we asked them about the purpose of this endeavor. So we were interested in why they were making use of ChatGPT. And as you can see here, vast majority of them were interested in getting some help with their home assignments. And then very few of them were actually willing to use this for thesis, for writing their thesis, or for coding or programming. Again, I would believe that this is due to the fact that we didn't have necessarily students that were studying computer science or informatics in our sample. And moreover, I believe there was some sort of a fear when it came to answering or to showing that they are going to use ChatGPT for writing their graduation thesis, as probably in your case, this applies as well. They have to, I mean, we have to actually check their thesis with an anti-plagiarism software. All right, and this leads us to the results of the structural model, which I think at this point would be interesting to emphasize the significant impacts that were obtained. So out of those antecedents that we theorized as being drivers of students' intention to use ChatGPT, there were only 2 that resulted, or that we were able to test and to say that they are impacting significantly and statistically the intention of using ChatGPT, and that were the attitude that students had towards this new technology. And the second one was the pressure coming from professors, or other way put it could be also the support coming from students. So, from professors. Now, second study, the research question of this one was related to the compliance behavior of students. And this is somehow related to my second question from the beginning of the presentation. This time we were interested in understanding what would motivate students, what would drive students' behavior to actually comply with a set of rules which talk about adopting and using this new technology in their academic assignments. Now, the context is a bit different from the context we had for the first study, because this second study was carried on a few months after the first one. So we did this we collected the data in May 2024, and we used a similar sample size of about 148 students. Still, students of the Faculty of Economics and Business Administration. However, there was something different when we did this survey, and that was the fact that our faculty issued a set of guidelines that students would have to follow when they were preparing their assignments, when they were preparing their case studies, when they were preparing their tasks with the help of ChatGPT. And the students were informed about this new set of rules, and we tried to understand to what extent students will actually agree with this and be willing to cooperate. Again, we had a conceptual model that we tried to test using the same structural equation modeling. And again, we fundamentally and theoretically based our hypothesis on the theory of planned behavior. So we anticipated that social pressure coming from peers, coming from colleagues, but also social pressure coming from professors will have an impact on students' behavior in complying with the new rules. At the same time, we believed that the extent to which students are aware of these new rules is going to be an indicator for the compliance intention, and so was the case for the compliance behavior. This time, the respondent characteristics looked the way you can see. So again, a pretty well-balanced sample in terms of level of studies. Not so well-balanced in terms of gender, but again, I explained the potential reasons for that. And over here, I decided to show the results in comparison, just to see what has changed from the first time we carried the first study and till the time we carried the second one. So one thing that strikes is the fact that there were less students who declared that they were never or they have never used ChatGPT, and there is an increased number of students who declare that they are more and more willing to use ChatGPT for specific university-related assignments, which basically shows that they got very familiar with the software, with the technology, and they were feeling very confident about using it. Yeah, when it came to the purpose of use, I guess the results are show a significant trend. So again, most of them said they are going to use it for home assignments, for final projects, for essays, and still few of them said that they are going to use this for coding or even for writing their graduation. Right. Now, over here you can see the results of the structural model assessment. These are the direct effects, and these are again striking results to the point where we see that this time the pressure coming from professors does not have a significant impact on students' intention to comply with the rules, with the regulations, or at least it doesn't have a direct effect. And neither does the social pressure manifested by peers, by their colleagues. However, professors may influence students through a mediation effect. So if they are able to demonstrate, or if they are able to actually explain this kind of rules, the chances for students to comply with the rules will significantly increase. So in conclusion, I would just try to emphasize a few key takeaways. And one would be the fact that generative AI, like ChatGPT, is becoming an integral part of our lives as academics, as students. For sure, there are challenges and opportunities of using ChatGPT for academic-related purposes. And I'm truly convinced that banning ChatGPT or any generative AI tool is not a solution to any challenges that it raises. In fact, I believe we should try to learn to use it and to work with it instead of just simply ban it, as it was the case at the beginning with some institutions in some universities. Right, and yeah, obviously, as any study, there are some limitations, which I'm not going to emphasize, as you can clearly see there. And with that, thank you so much, and I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Thanks, Professor. And do you have any questions concerning your future of education with ChatGPT and others? Comments? No, everything is clear. So I think that maybe there is a problem for teachers. So how do you perceive the future of teachers at the universities in such a situation? And the second question is also for students, that I'm afraid that these solutions like ChatGPT and others will change the structure of employment. So we will have the people who are gurus at the top of the hierarchy, very creative, very wise people, and on the other side you will have at the bottom, the people who are doing very routine, simple work like cleaning and wastage removal. So the people in the middle, because of the technology, will be maybe removed. But anyway, there's a question to Professor. What is your attitude toward the teachers and the employment structure changes? Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Like I mentioned in one of these last slides, there are significant challenges of this new technology. If we look, I mean, those of us who used it at least once, we saw that the potential is huge, and the prompts or the responses that it generates sometimes are close to perfections. Sometimes you will probably need to ask the technology again. Maybe you're not happy with the answer, or you don't necessarily agree with the results that it is provided. Yeah, at the very top of the list concerning the challenges, obviously there are these ethical challenges that also my colleague Omed mentioned, which I guess apply to a certain extent to any technology, yeah, this is a technology that it has been said, at least by some people, that can replace human beings in some circumstances, in some jobs. It can do a better it can do a better job than individuals can do. On the other hand, it has some limitations, and it has some downsides, which we as individuals can learn to master. So I learned from these studies. I learned from the literature that I read. I learned from the discussions that I had with managers, employers who use this, that one thing that at least for the moment these generative AI tools do not provide you with is the critical thinking. And I guess that could be our main thing, and we should actually try to learn how to simplify our lives, make our lives easier by automating those routine tasks and by simply be on top of these more challenging aspects like critical thinking is, for example.
Okay, yeah, the automation of processes is nowadays very also actual topic. Yeah, but there is another issue that you can imagine that, for example, the company which developed ChatGPT, the next version will be much more limited than the previous one because they would be afraid of the consequences of such a technology development. So do you have any comments on that it will be?
Yeah, so that's obviously another reason of concern. But the thing is that these new versions of it, as much as we try to control them, and especially here in Europe, we see that we try to regulate almost everything, especially how we use AI. The problem is not that easy, right? It's not like you just unplug something and it stops, right? This is not the case with the AI, even though they will probably try to limit it, and for some time they might be able to do it. Still, on the long run, the advancement of technology will overcome these kind of situations. So that being said, if ChatGPT will not be that powerful, maybe then another tool will be more powerful. Again, I will go back to that idea regarding the fact that instead of just trying to ban it or control it, why not just try to see how we can use it so that it fits our needs and our purposes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are right. Yeah, there is another comment that these solutions, the technology, will use a lot of energy. So you probably heard that it is a problem to buy or to develop the power stations, to produce this energy, particularly for this technology. Yeah, that is. Yeah. Okay, our time is over, so thank you, all of you, for participation in this session. I would like to thank professors for giving a presentation. So I would like to invite you for break, and after 20 minutes, the next session. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for this interesting panel. I must admit that we, the employees of Marketing Center, are also using ChatGPT. This is the ugly truth, but it shortens our work. As you said, critical thinking is the most essential in this case. Thank you so much, and see you in 20 minutes for another panel. The refreshments are on the left. Thank you. Welcome back after this short break. Now it's time for a second panel of our event. This panel is entitled Art and Circular Economy. Please welcome the moderator of this panel, Professor Monika Wieczorek-Kosmala from our university, University of Economics in Katowice. And I would like to introduce our invited guests, Professor Kleber Dutra, Institute of Economics, Finance and Management from Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Magister Magdalena Mach, Socially Responsible Design Studio, Academy of Fine Arts in Krakow, as well as Professor Dominika Bochańczyk-Kubka from our university, University of Economics in Katowice. The stage is yours.
I have a great pleasure to welcome you on the not so obvious discussion panel where we want to join the topic of art and the economy, the circular economy. Economists usually use numbers, figures, diagrams to visualize the issues in focus and to justify the need to make decisions or pursue alternative solutions. However, we believe that the art could be equally efficient in driving the change. Therefore, we invite you to join this art-based journey and dive into the challenging problems of our planet by exploring more the mysteries of circular economy. The circular economy is a model of production and consumption which involves sharing, leasing, reusing, repairing, refurbishing, recycling existing materials and products as long as possible. In this way, the life cycle of products is extended. In practice, it implies reducing waste to a minimum. When a product reaches the end of its life, its materials are kept within the economy wherever possible thanks to recycling. This can be productively used again and again, thereby creating further value. Let me change the page. Many ask, why do we need circular economy? And the immediate answer is usually to protect the environment. But there is the word economy in this abbreviation, circular economy, or this phenomena, which suggests that economic orientation of circularity is very important. Protecting the environment means less waste and preventing biodiversity loss, but at the same time, energy and resources savings and reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. There are plenty of dimensions of circular economy that would make our debate today probably endless. For this reason, me together with the panelists, decided to draw your attention only to two, but very challenging aspects of circularity, namely the problem of plastic pollution and the problem of fast fashion. But we do not focus only on problems, the costs and consequences in economic dimension. We want also to inspire you to drive the change by promoting innovative solutions with the pictures of some art. So, I have a great pleasure to welcome among the panelists Professor Kleber Dutra, who holds strong expertise in sustainability issues. His main focus of interest is mostly environmental problems. He started this during his studies in chemical engineering, and it was a central topic of his master's studies in biotechnology. After years of working as an advisor in sustainable development challenges for industrial sectors and governmental institutions in Latin America and Europe, he concentrated his research on resource efficiency questions. This became the main area of his work, which is the basis of circular economy projects he has been conducting. At the moment, he represents Jagiellonian University in Krakow, where she is a fellowship holder under the project funded by the European Commission and the Polish National Science Center. Our second guest is my dear colleague Dominika from our university, Professor Dominika Bocheńczyk-Kubka, and she will add to this discussion the economic perspective. So we've got environment, we've got economics. Dominika is, of course, a researcher in sustainability topics and circular economy. One of her major fields of expertise is circularity, including the fashion and a very interesting area, luxurious goods, luxurious brands. She is also a member of the Center of Economics for Economics and Climate Change we established at the university. And she is very committed to numerous international projects within the activity of the center. Last but not least, let me welcome Mrs. Magdalena Mach from the Fine Arts Academy in Krakow. She will add to our discussion this touch of art and innovation. She graduated of the Faculty of Sculpture and Industrial Forms, of course in the Academy of Arts in Krakow. But I hope that we will learn a lot from her today, thanks to her commitment in socially responsible design studio. This debate will be organized in, let's say, two subtopics. First, we will focus on the problem of plastic, then on the problem of fashion. My idea to make this debate organized is that I will first ask Dominika to give us some facts and figures regarding the problem in focus. Then I will ask Kleber to add with his knowledge and experience regarding the use of raw materials. And finally, Magdalena will share with us some inspirations from her socially responsible design studio. Okay, so to help, as this is art-based panel, we have some nice pictures to visualize what we want to tell you with the graphics. Yes, and I will first show you a few photos. It's very easy to find in the internet the pictures that show us the oceans of plastic. Especially this one, I think, is familiar to most of us, the island of plastic on the Pacific Ocean. Also the problem of the plastic on the beaches, the fact that it harms the biodiversity, and something we are maybe less aware, and we will probably talk about this today, that finally the plastic, the microplastic, could be found in everything, and this picture shows us how the animals very often are fed on the landfill. Yes, and Dominika, I will leave you with some facts and figures to study, while she will tell us a little bit more why it's so problematic from the economic perspective.
Thank you very much. It's extremely pleasure for me to be in here. And thank you very much for invitation, Monika. It's very nice to be here. I was wondering what to talk today. And I know a little bit that we are fed up with numbers. In fact, nobody cares. It is millions of tons, billions of tons. So I would like to start with King Midas. Probably everybody heard about Midas. It was a king who, when he touched something, everything changed into the gold. So at the beginning, he touched the table and it changed into the gold. Then it touched floor, it changed into the gold. Then he wanted to drink something and he couldn't. Then he would like to eat something and he also couldn't. And then he would like to hug his beloved daughter and she changed into the gold and die. And in my opinion, we are all right now Midases of our time. Everything what we touched changed, but not unfortunately to the gold, but to the plastic. Plastic is in fact everywhere. When we think about where is plastic around us, we can find it's everywhere. It's on suits you are wearing, it is in your bags, it's everywhere in this room. Probably you have eaten plastic today. We are breathing with microplastic. We are also drinking microplastic every day. So in fact, we are slowly changed ourselves into the plastic. Probably you know that every day millions of animals die because of eating plastics. And we slowly became also this type of animals because we are slowly dying because of eating plastic. Probably you know that plastic is connected with many diseases. I have a huge list here and I don't want to read them all, but everybody knows that it is connected with cancer, heart diseases, autoimmune diseases, respiratory problems, mental health, hormones, and so on, so on. When we think about plastic, is also one thing we have to think about it. I don't know if you ever think about it, that all you have got with you today, what is made of plastic, will last longer than your life. So your next generation will also have to think about it. So it means that when we are taking decision to buy something, we should think, does my daughter would like to use it in, 100 years later on? A typical bottle of water decomposed 450 years. So whatever we bought, whatever we are buying, will stay here even longer than we can even think about. And I don't want to speak too long, yes? So one thing I also would like to mention in this first round is recycling. In my opinion, everybody heard about recycling. It's some kind of litmus paper. It's very easy excuse to buy new goods. We recycle to feel relieved of responsibilities. Probably you know that only 9% of all goods, plastic goods, which are produced can be recycled. And again, just only 1% of this 9% can be recycled. So even though we are buying something recycled and we feel happy, we have to remember that this particular good will not be recycled again. So it is just only once happen in lifetime of such product. And just to sum up, our wish of having something, cheap, durable, which is plastic, was a blessing at the beginning, like for Midas, this gold. But right now, it is a curse for us.
Thank you, Dominika. So we are now a little bit scared with the numbers. But unfortunately, I will ask Professor Kleber to continue. The graphics you see were shared by him. So I will be very grateful if you could tell us a little bit more about the problem we have being flooded with plastic waste, and also how this recycling, recalled by Dominika, looks like in real terms, and if it really could help.
Yeah, the problem with plastic is without end, especially because the idea behind circular economy involves thinking about ways to put things in a loop. As you said in the beginning, circular economy is very good to avoid pollution, but one big problem with circular economy is that we don't have resources in the planet to keep the needs of the population in the planet being met for a long time. That's the reason why some scientists developed some models saying that every year we are consuming so much resources from the planet that we are already finishing our quota of consumption around July already. So which means after the half of the year, we are consuming resources that should be used for future generations. So the idea of circular economy is not just avoiding pollution, but also trying to find ways to use all the resources that we already extracted in a way that we can produce things with them. And that's the problem with plastics. We have different kinds of plastics. I am a chemical engineer, and I understand that you cannot mix all this plastic together if you want to recycle it, because some plastics are not recyclable, others are, and some that are recyclable, there's a limit to recycle them. So recycling is not a solution. That's why circular economy has also different ideas and principles that could try to reuse things or repair things, and use the different materials we have to maybe for a different purpose. And that could be probably one of the ways to get out of the problem with plastics. And even the societies, the associations, industrial associations working with solutions for the sector, they see that the way to get to a certain degree of success is very, very long. Here in Europe, only a small percentage of the whole plastic produced in Europe is recycled. A large amount of the plastic still goes to landfill and stays there for centuries, as Dominika said, and they contaminate everything. And most of this plastic, in a way of order, goes to the ocean and are destroying biodiversity. Especially the coral reefs have been destroyed because of microplastic. So it's a huge problem, and the solutions we are trying to find will take many, many years. One of the attempts to do that is to produce plastic from biological materials. You probably already saw some plastic bags. They look quite different. And I'm doing my research in Europe. I'm comparing different countries. Here in Poland, we don't see this much yet. But everything you buy in Italy, for example, comes, if you have a bag, plastic bag, is a biological produced plastic bag, which means it doesn't take so much long years to be biodegraded by microorganisms and come back to nature. So I don't know how much time we should expend talking about this, because as you said, you can sit here many days discussing the problems, but I'm very curious to hear what the people from the area of art are doing, because one of the best ways of doing reuse of things is to find a different purpose for the materials we have. And one of the most beautiful ways is to produce art with it. And that's why I'm very glad to participate in this panel, because I want to learn about this.
I think there will be a surprise. However, before we will shift to this innovative art-based solutions, I would like to ask you a little bit more about the recycling of plastic, because recently I learned that you actually mentioned not every type of plastic is it is possible to recycle, and we usually, when we are asked to put the plastic bottle to a specific container, are even not aware of this. We were surprised by the fact that we cannot buy the plastic straws anymore, that we are asked to pay more if we buy the drink in a plastic cup, or the fact that very recently the cap of the bottle is attached to the bottle, yes. So not everyone was aware that this is because of the plastic directive of the European Union and some requirements. However, recently I learned that it's even not so easy to recycle plastic technologically. So I would like to ask you about your engineering-based experience. I heard that even the recycling of this kind of bottles is challenging, because there is a matter of preparing the recycled plastic to be used with the food again. So the plastic packages, recycling itself is quite challenging. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
The difficulties regarding recycling of plastic depends on the materials that compose the plastics. Some of these materials you can, there are different kinds of recycling. There are mechanical kinds of recycling, chemical ones, also chemical, dissolving plastics and trying to reuse the materials that are used to produce plastics. But the difficulties is that it starts with us as consumers. As soon as we start using things and we are not informed about how to separate this, we put everything together. So there's a huge difference if you collect the wastes from municipal wastes, mixed together, the possibility to recycle is much less than if you separate these different kinds of materials, like we have here, metals, plastics, paper, biological wastes, and so on. This facilitates the process. But if you have to imagine that as soon as these wastes come to a place to be separated and then selected by people or by machines, then the problems start, because if they are mixed in a certain way, you cannot separate them anymore, then it's lost. You have to burn it, and then you produce CO2 that's causing climate change, or you send to the landfill and wait some centuries until this will be finished. So recycling is one option, but it's probably not the best yet. And this, one of the difficulties is regarding the mixture of these different materials. And even if we separate them in different kinds of plastics, only plastics, there are different kinds of materials that could not be reused or recycled anymore. So it's a long, long way to find the solutions.
Yes, and I ask about the solutions also, because I think we would like our participants to be aware of at least two dimensions of the problem. One is our consumer awareness and our consumer attitudes. So we hope that we will drive a change after this panel and everyone will consider more carefully how much plastic we use on a daily basis. Another one is the fact that we are offered those products by the business. And here we hit economy again. Yes, so the magic of plastic is that it's very handy when it comes at least to packaging, for instance, yes. And this is why the plastic is omnipresent also in production process and the goods we are offered on the market. So to have the real impact of the change, we need to be aware that very shortly the businesses itself will have to change the approach. I'm not sure if we have enough time to mention this, but I'm pretty sure that our students are a little bit aware of the European Green Deal and the related regulation which is entering into force. So sooner or later, companies will have to change their attitudes. They will have to contribute to environmental goals, including the climate change. Therefore, they are seeking for innovations. And here the art comes with our guest Magdalena. She shared with us a few interesting ideas on what we can actually do. And for our students of economics, I think it could be an inspiration that in real life business, there will be an engineer to communicate, the economist and finance you actually itself to compute if it all makes sense in financial terms, but also people like the community Magdalena represents, so people who could help us to design, for instance, the packaging in a different way. So now I would like to ask Magdalena to tell us a few words about the projects they were carrying. Actually, the first which I chose to show you is related with the packaging itself.
Yes, at the Faculty of Industrial Design we have different studios which you can study, and one of them is a studio of design, packaging and typography designing, and there students were often asked about change or asked about if the packaging is need or excess, and it is this example which you see is one of the answer. Our student Susanna analyze the packaging of
chemistry, which we use normally on a daily basis in our houses.
Like powders, capsules, and so on. And she proposed change the form of the packaging, which could be more economic in storage, and also store more powder inside. Another example, you can show, switch.
Yes, I don't have this picture, but there was a nice picture how this packaging triangle one could save actually the space, yes, which is relevant for cost of transporting as well.
Yes. It was, you didn't show the example how it works, but this triangle shape on the base give the possible to storage it more economical, like you don't have the waste of space, for example, in transport.
Yeah,
and another one is the way how to store battery. And Miss Mateusz Baran, one of the students, analyzed how one of the most famous battery are stored, and they see that they don't need so much plastic and paper, and they give the answer like to storage the battery like bullets.
Okay, this is the next example.
And Mrs. Alexandra changed the packaging, whole packaging of the dairy products. From here you see the example of cheese, and she said it's possible to change plastic packaging to glass packaging and change the etiquette to paper etiquette, and then like in the past we buy the milk of bottles, and also here will be the same system, like we change the jars after this product and back it to the system.
Yes, on this occasion, I think we can ask again Kleber, because it just reminded me that once I was a witness of a discussion that actually this type of products, yes, milk and dairy products, are the most challenging because it's wet, so it's not easy to just change the plastic into a paper. And even if it's a paper, still inside we need kind of a layout which still has some plastic, and it's kind of a bias and misinformation to a customer. In fact, we think it's a paper cup or paper cover, but in fact still there is some plastic. So the discussion about the use of glass, and if you can confirm, they said that actually glass is one of the best products to recycle. Yes, it's not losing any of the chemical features that we need, and at the same time the only one which we can fully reuse again and reuse and reuse. Is it true?
Yes, it's true, because if you try to buy a kind of food that comes in plastic packaging, certainly part of the materials that are used for the composition of the plastic goes into food, and that's why Dominika said that we are eating plastic every day. Especially plastic bottles, if we drink a liquid from there, part of the solvents that are used for producing plastic, they dissolve in the liquid, and we are drinking these chemical substances every day. Comparing this with glass, glass is a kind of material that is made of sand. It's a silicate kind of material, and it's inert. It doesn't react. Even if part of this dissolve in the food we are eating are not chemically contaminated, as in the case of plastic. But then I remember that you asked something about packaging and the challenges of packaging in the last question. And the problem regarding producing and consuming is that the companies that produce packaging and try to find solutions for circularity, they depend on the behavior of the consumers. One of the best examples, I saw your designs for solutions of problems that I found in terms of circularity is refilling. There are some business models using the idea that if you want to buy something that you need, could be food, could be something to clean, soap or shampoo, you don't have to buy the packaging again and again and again. You just buy it once, and when you want to have more, you go back to the shop and you just refill what you want. You can refill the food, you can refill shampoo, you can refill detergents to clean the plates after you eat. So in this case, we can extend the life of some packaging for much longer time than just buying new ones and throwing away what we buy from the supermarket. But if the consumer doesn't work with these ideas, the companies will never find a solution as well. So it depends on us as consumers to find the solutions.
Yes, thank you for reminding this important aspect, this interaction between consumers, the demand, and the response in the form of supply. Coming back to this idea, my background is risk management and insurance, and I could recall immediately that someone would say, yes, glass is problematic because while transporting the glass products, like glass bottles with water, there is much more damage than if we do this in plastic bottles. But I noted that the idea of this designer actually was smart enough to prevent at least a little bit this problem, because this paper-based cup probably works as a protection in the transport system. Okay, next picture. Again, packaging, this time of the fruits. And here I placed the photo, how smart it is in the context also of transport and having a compact storage. Yeah.
Yes, the students thought about the transport as well as the packaging of the small fruits, and they analyzed the best common packaging of plastic and packaging of fruits which are selling in the markets. And she showed how to change it into paper packaging, and also she proposed the system how to pack it in more economic way in the transport.
Yes, and I also was quite surprised how easy it is actually, yes. It looks the same, has the same functions, but it's just a matter of changing the material. And still the function of this is the same. Yeah. I just wonder, I don't know if your students analyzed also the cost of this change.
Yes, I show you only the result of the project, but before it, it's a huge analysis. about the brand, about the shape of the packaging, and also about the cost, economical cost of products in it.
And can you recall some figures? Is it cheaper than the plastic or not really at the moment?
Probably not, because plastic is one of the cheapest material to use it in the packaging. Yes, but like Professor Kreber said, it's change. We have to change our thinking about packaging and about what we want to buy in this packaging.
Yeah, and I didn't mention it earlier, but there are many voices from the economists that actually, if the customer goes to the shop, even if it's aware, sustainably aware and wants to help the planet, that it's true that still sometimes even the vegetables bought without any packaging could be much more expensive than the ones which are packed in plastic. And it seems quite strange, yes, because plastic and the packaging cost. But in fact, the reason is that if something is sold without the plastic packaging, it could deteriorate much faster, so there is a bigger loss than if the vegetables are packed in plastic. So as you can see, this problem is really complex, and yeah, I hope that you will say that this package is cheaper than the plastic one, but I understand it's not so easy.
Maybe not, but I'm not sure. For example, if it's producing in a large scale, probably it will be cheaper, but I'm not sure if it will be cheaper than plastic.
Yeah, at the moment, at least at the innovation stage, yes, that's, I think Dominika will confirm that always innovations are much more expensive, at least at the beginning. Okay, and there are a few proposals which go beyond the packaging, but still demonstrate how we can avoid plastic or have good ideas to use something different than plastic to help daily life situations. Like here we have the cute cat enjoying the basket.
Yes. So it's one of the example from our studio of socially responsible design. Last year we cooperate with WTZ. It's I have to check the right name. Occupational therapy workshop, Barsztowa 3 in Krakow, is a place for kind of work for people with mental disability. And our student was asked about product for them. They sell lots of things during the yarmarks and before Christmas and before Easter, and they produce lots of difficult things difficult to recycle. They use different materials like paper, wool, or some plastic equipment, and one of the material which they used was paper, naming waving from paper. It's likely a technique they use it. They make a basket from paper, and they bring the papers from neighbors Rossmann. They are newspapers from Rossmann, and they make small tubes, and then they make a shape of, for example, for a basket. And our student show how to prepare, for example, a basket in large scale, which can be a product for the pets. And we know the pet stuff, especially for cats, are really ugly and complicated to recycled thing. So it's one of the the example how to change thinking about these things.
Yeah. Thank you. And actually, I, quite by chance, but changed the topic. The second aspect we would like to highlight during this panel discussion in terms of circularity is the problem of fashion. And we were inspired by this aspect. Basically, I think I can say, Dominika, that in one of our projects when we work with really with the teenagers, it came out that they are completely not aware how harmful is the fashion, especially fast fashion industry. So we decided to dig a little bit more into this area. And also, let me first show you a few graphics, a few photos that are informative in the context why it is such a big problem. Again, those photos were shared by Kleber and a few by Dominika. The African beaches, which are full of mountains of clothes, which is actually as a waste here. Or the photo which shows the piles of used or not used, throwaway, in an instance, clothes, the fashion industry wastes, and how this picture was done to draw the attention that it really affects also the climate change. Later on, we will explain you in figures why. Yeah, very similar. Ghana, which shows us the location when it all lands up. Actually, I mentioned Africa. Here is Ghana. There will be one more. Yeah, Accra. No time to waste. Desirable upcycling. We are even not aware where this what we throw away is finally ending up. And also a photo of a plant which is trying to apply circularity of the waste. I think Kleber will tell us a few more words about it. As far as I know, the challenge is that we can, from fabrics, reuse in the sense that we can have at least a little bit of the energy which was involved in producing, but still is just a bit. And because fabrics are, again, chemically different, it's not so obvious that it's the best method of reducing the number of clothes waste we have. Yeah, and again, I'm leaving you in front of your eyes with a graphic which tells a little bit in figures and in numbers, and at the same time, Dominika will tell us more.
Thank you very much. So we come to fashion, and in fact, fast fashion. It is the main problem right now. Probably everybody knows that fast fashion is a cheap, low cost and low quality clothes, which we buy in massive numbers because we want to and we can. Fast fashion, I don't know if you know, it's rather a young industry. It appeared just 30 years ago in the 90s. So probably it is older than you, maybe not that we are in here, but still is one of the youngest industry, but probably the influence of fast fashion is one of the biggest in the history. Mainly because it caused huge, massive, unwanted clothes which appear every year. I don't know if you know that 85% of all produced clothes just finish their life on the landfills. It's even difficult to talk about the environmental impact of fast fashion, but it is, first of all, the industry uses resources which are non-renewable, so we can't find them, they will not exist anymore. Its influence is connected with emission of greenhouse gases. It uses huge amount of water and energy. Also, it uses synthetic materials, in fact, plastics. So, in fact, we are wearing plastics right now, such as nylon, polyester, acrylic. It takes hundreds of years to biodegrade them. I have some features, not a lot of, in fact. I just would like to underline that, for example, today, this one day, clothing companies create 1 million of garments. So 1 million of garments per day are produced. It's 400% more than 2 decades ago. And this speed is accelerating. We produce more and more and more. Fashion is responsible for 10% of global carbon emission. And less than 1% of material used to produce clothing is recycled or upcycled into new clothes. And one which I really like, and I think we can all think it over, if we all extending the life of clothes we are wearing by just 9 months of active use, it would reduce carbon, water, and waste footprint by 30%. So just we have to use them longer, and it is just such easy solution. Not to buy a new one, just use what we have got. We are at University of Economics, and probably you notice that we're mainly talking about supply side. Monica noticed about the demand, but if we don't have the demand, nobody would like to produce. So they are our choices. Everybody knows that our choices are connected with our wallets. So we vote with our wallets. And therefore, so many goods are produced. We, of course, as economists, can think about why we are buying so many goods. And the answer is not very nice. Because we are lonely, because we are stressed, because we are not feeling good. The dopamine, which appeared during the process of buying a new occasion, gives us short pleasure. But majority of products we are buying, which comes from fast fashion, we never use. They are somewhere in our shelves. So we are buying because of emotions. And probably you know that common sense is not a good way to solve problems of emotions. But I think, because today we are talking about art, in fact, and art is about emotions. We have emotions of creator and emotions of customers, so maybe it's such tool just to show people that really small choices can change everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominika. And I will add one more thing you didn't mention, which is actually coming out from this research we did, that this topic is particularly difficult in the context of emotions and demand, because somebody, some kind of, I don't want to say openly, but I think everyone will know what I mean. Why it happens that each season we have to have new jacket, new color, new shape, yes. There are some comparisons that tell us that in the past, I mean when we were young, the shape of the trousers was fashionable for at least 10 years. Now, every half a year, we have a new shape, new design, and of course, everyone wants to look smart and fashionable and trendy at the moment. So this is another very important aspect, that in this specific branch of the industry, our demand is actually driven by something else, which we are sometimes not fully aware why it happens. Is that someone is really creating new clothes, and by this creating our demand to have the new clothes. As we should hit a little bit the problem of the textile processing in the context of recycling, upcycling, please tell us more, Kleber, about the problem which we have with fashion. Why there are such a huge stockpiles of the clothes which were thrown away? As Dominika said, 80% of the fast fashion products ends up on the landfills in a relatively short period of time. So what can be done with this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And also what Dominika mentioned about our feelings or our emotions related to buying a new thing. This is something that is part of my presentation tomorrow. I should not speak today about this, but because it's something that I want to go into details tomorrow regarding this. But
happiness.
Yes. You said is in these figures there is more than 80%. It's 87. It's almost 90% of all the clothes that are produced every year. They go to the landfill. That's why we see these horrible pictures and photos of clothes being sent to countries in Africa, for example. And this is a huge problem, again. And sometimes we don't think that a very large percentage of these clothes came directly from the shop because they were not bought. They were produced, they used a lot of materials, and these fabrics were used to produce a completely new clothes. And since we didn't buy it, they don't want to reuse for the next season of fashion. They send it to the landfill. So produced, and they went directly without being used to the landfill. And also the graph shows that a large percentage of these clothes have plastic content. And this is one of the difficulties we have in terms of reusing this to produce new clothes. Because if these materials are composed of mixtures of different kinds of materials, you cannot reuse it anymore. Part of my research I was doing in Italy recently, and in Italy we have in the city of Prato in Tuscany, from all the amount of clothes producing, especially wool, they recycle around 17% of these clothes there. And they started this 100 years ago. It's one of the oldest cases of circular economy here in Europe, because wool is possible to put together in a process and reuse it, reducing the amount of water that's needed, because you need a lot of water, you need a lot of chemistry, and also to put some colors, then you have to dye it again. So it's a very complex process of recycling and reusing. The best way is exactly what Dominika said. If we change our minds and we start keeping our clothes in use for a longer time, this will reduce a lot of the environmental impacts, because it's easier to keep it in use for a longer time than throwing it away, because it's difficult to recycle it after that.
Yes, and I heard that, going back to one of the last pictures, yes, the process of burning the used clothes is also challenging when it comes to environment, yes, and the costs actually as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about the environmental challenges related to this potential solution?
Yes, since I am a chemical engineer, I don't want to scare people telling very horrible figures about pollution, especially through burning, because incinerations, if it's not well controlled, produce dioxin, which is the most toxic substance produced ever. It's a human-produced, created substance, and it comes from burning, usually. So several cases of cancer come from burning wastes in incinerators if they are not well controlled. So the production of textiles uses around 300 different kinds of chemical substances. And if you burn it, some of them have a very large impact on the environment, and then also in our lives, because we're breathing the air that comes from this incineration. Sometimes, as you see from this smoke there, that's not well burned, and several people get sick from there. And this also contaminates the water, contaminates different kinds of animals, because the rain brings down all this material to the earth. This goes to the plants, goes to several kinds of animals. So this is a nightmare, actually. It's the best word for this. And we don't have a good solution for this for a long time.
Yeah, and maybe just to add, to finalize, we sometimes give our clothes to donate them for charity or for second use. And we are now sometimes not aware that actually the photos I show you with Ghana problem is the outcome, yes? So here in Europe, to have our situation clean and be okay, we think that we do something good by sending those textiles to Africa, for instance, but the quantity is so overwhelming that they are not able to use them according to the destination. This is why it all ends up on the landfills. So the message we clearly stated at the moment is that really overconsumption in this particular issue is a huge problem, and our attitudes in particular could drive the change. Thank you for mentioning the wool, because what we noticed, as we don't know the plastic labels, that different sorts of plastic should be actually separated because not everything can be recycled. I very recently learned with Dominika on the occasion of the project we do that there are special numbers and we should follow them, but it's not so easy to find them even sometimes on the packaging. Another issue is related with being an aware consumer of textiles and be able to distinguish the material which is natural, like the wool or cotton or silk, from the synthetic ones. So probably there will be, for those who want to be aware consumers, we recommend to study this, because at least in this dimension we can help a little bit. Yeah, and choose the products, the textiles, which are not so harmful for the environment because they don't contain the plastic-related fabrics. Still, however, as we said, production of fashion is actually one of the industries which is consuming a lot of energy. This is actually more exposed in the context of carbon emissions than the flights. We usually are said that the flights are the most problematic, but in fact, production of fashion is on the top, together with the construction industry. Also, the use of water, which is a scarce resource on the planet. We think that there is a lot of water, but it's not true, yes? It's quite surprising. I was surprised to learn that, for instance, Poland is one of the countries endangered with water scarcity. So, yeah, I think those all aspects should be taken into consideration when we consider to buy a new shirt, for instance, yes? And coming back to the natural fabrics, now I will ask Magdalena to tell us a little bit more maybe about this one. Because this, I have just one presentation, and this was just one also prepared by, maybe not the only one in the studio, but the one you shared with us, which is actually demonstrating that we can be fashion, trendy and cool, but use just the natural resources.
Yes, it's one. This example is from alternative design studio, and it was a diploma degree design for diploma degree by Sonia Kalandyk and Anna Pielesz. The authors discovered that most of wool from Polish sheep is wasted. It's burned and also digging underground, and it doesn't use anymore. And they proposed it's an answer to it's a response to overconsumption in the fast fashion field. The authors took the idea of on non-waste from pastoral culture, and it turns out that the wool, yes, what I said, it's mostly wasted, change the concept of products using these renewable raw materials. The second element of this project, one was the project of the bags, the hat and the shoes from the wool. Another part of the project was workshops for children it was named Owcowani. on raising awareness and promotion what is valuable in culture and shaping appropriate consumer behavior from the youngest to the eldest.
Yes, thank you very much. This project, I think, is showing us that, again, we are following the easy solutions, like using the plastic fibers. I can recall probably the challenge of ironing a shirt from the cotton and the non-iron one. And I must admit that it's also my shame. Yeah, basically, easy life is something maybe here as well, which came to my mind right now. And we totally forgot how it was in the past, yes, that actually the natural materials, all we had around us was accessible for using, for reusing, for instance, to have clothes or jewelry, because there was also, yeah, the example of wooden jewelry. Yeah, and I think that this project, I was reading the introduction to this project, which was, as you said, based on this fast fashion considerations, but also I was shocked with this fact. I didn't know that so many natural resources, the wool in this aspect is really wasted and not used anymore. Yes. For the final round, I would ask my panelists if there is something else they would like to ask, and then I will ask the audience maybe to share with you some thoughts, questions. Dominika, the final word.
In fact, in my opinion, because we are adults here, we should take responsibility for what we are doing, and it is the most important. And in fact, what is really surprising, it is extremely easy. It's, you know, we don't have to think about huge production sites. We don't spend a lot of money for new technologies. We just have to think about what we are doing with our stuff. We just have to buy what we really needed and just use it much, much longer. And it is so much and so little. Yes, so in fact, in my opinion, each of us here can do something. And I really believe that the choices, particular individual choices, really matter.
Thank you. Kleber?
Talking about circular economy and all the aspects we are discussing here today is a very, very complex, and that's why the basis for my research is on complexity as theoretical underpinning for understanding all the possibilities we could try to use. So I would like to, since complexity comes from complexes, which is connect things together, I would like to connect our discussions with the presentation of our colleague from Romania in the last panel. Because as you also said, the challenge for us as human beings to survive in the planet depends on creativity. If we lose the capacity to think of creative solutions, and art probably is one of the best ways to do that, to try to imagine innovative ways to reuse and to keep things having some value, this would be our chance to survive. So using artificial intelligence is probably going backwards. I don't know. It's just a question mark we should raise in terms of what we are doing with our capacity to create things with our brains and with our intelligence. And I agree with Domenica that we should rethink our way of living if you want to keep the planet still in good conditions for the next generations. And for young economists, that most of you probably are studying economics, that's what was one of the ideas that you had, is to see that you have to do this viable in terms of economic ways, so the production and the consumption side could match in a way that this will be probably be applied somehow in the practice. So economists had a lot of work to do.
And Magdalena? art?
Okay, so I would like to say that our faculty is more design than art, but we of course use art and creativity in thinking. But we of course think about industrial producting. So these products are sometimes thinking to be produced in large scale. But what I want to say to the end, it's like I believe that the social responsible is our goal now, and everyone have to think about it and remember about it, that they could change small things in their everyday life, and it have an impact.
Thank you. Yeah, and I would link this with the conclusion which we had yesterday on one of the panel. If someone then can recall that change is not so easy. Yes, change of the habits. We had an exercise with folding arms. You can see this on YouTube. Another problem is, as Dominika said, education. That was highlighted very much yesterday. So please forgive us, but we wanted to educate you as much as possible to drive the change. Now I would like to ask if there are any students who would like to share their views, opinions, ask a question, or our colleagues, academia as well.
Thank you very much, Łukasz Szewczyk, Department of Banking and Financial Markets. I have one remark, because, you know, what we've heard here is very interesting. And when I was a little bit preparing myself to this lecture, to this meeting, I read a very interesting article. And in this article, it was said that the fashion world and the art world can be some sort of a driver into the change, into this transformational approach. But, you know, my question is, are you being listened when we talk about the people from the art world, designers and artists, for example? Are you being listened by the big corporations? Because, you know, I represent the banking world, and I can tell you one thing, and I think it's a very important remark to everybody, that money rules the world, and money will rule the world. So even though we are aware that we need to change our approach, we can't use so much plastic. We need to change into using maybe more paper, other containers, because you were talking about this applied art, yes? But do you think that you are being listened by the big transnational corporations? And do you think that you are able to discuss with them about this particular change, which is very, very important, because we all know that consumers are more and more aware of these problems that you were talking about. But to be quite honest, when I look, for example, at this problem in Ghana, in Accra, you have shown us the piles of clothes which are being put somewhere. Do you think that we can really understand the significance? Because here at the University of Economics we have students, we have intelligent people here, yes? But do you think that everybody can be aware what is really happening in the world? Because from my perspective, and some years ago in our department we wrote a book about transformation in Africa, no one cares. No one cares what is happening in this part of the world, and it's not only the problem of Africa, but let's look at Asia. We have India, we have Pakistan, we have Bangladesh. When you look at the clothes you buy, they are produced in Asia. Because the labor costs, the cost of materials are so much cheaper than, for example, in Europe or in United States of America. So what is your opinion about this, I would say, relation between you, designers, artists, and big corporations? Thank you very much for this quite long remark.
Thank you, Łukasz, for this interesting question. Before Magdalena will tell us, I will add something with my curiosity. Is it that you are knocking the doors of the corporations, or hopefully the corporations started to knock your doors?
I hope will be in different way. For example, this set of examples of packaging was showed, for example, during the packaging innovation event, yes, and there was a lot of interest of this new design, and I heard that, for example, people which go to the exhibition, they stole the prototype of this packaging. So we could expect that we will see this in the market because someone stole the prototype. The answer is not so obvious. That I think that during the study we try to create thinking of our students and change their point of views because yes, we teach them how to design for the market mostly. But for example, in our studio, we try to change that the design could work in different area as well. For example, in social economy or social design in different areas. But some of the designs are implemented to the market. We cooperate with different enterprise. So yes, we could change the way how we live.
So there is an interest.
Yes.
I think we can extend Łukasz's question also to technical processes, because I can imagine that packaging is the final life of the product, how it appears on the market, but there is also an issue of processing this, yes? So is there a growing interest from the corporation side to learn how we can improve the processes to be less environmentally harmful?
Yes, the problems don't finish in the chemical or in the material aspects. They start with the social. I don't know, I didn't get your name.
Łukasz. It was Łukasz.
Łukasz, yes. Because your question is very interesting because it has several answers. Starting from money moves the world. The first time economists start thinking about the destruction of the planet was the issue of the Stern report in the 90s, showing what we see every day in the news, that what happened last week in Spain. So many people lost their goods and their lives because of climate change. This costs also a lot of money. So what are you using the money for? To reconstruct the planet that are destructing so fast? I don't know. But in terms of Bangladesh, for example, because you remember that I think around 5,000 people died in this building that crashed in Bangladesh some years ago, producing very cheap kind of clothes. And because of this, several companies decided to sign an agreement saying we don't have to be connected, not just with the material problems, but also with the social problems of producing clothes from these very cheap labor costs that we have in our production chain. So there are several sides to be considered. And some companies learn slow, but they are also learning that if it goes this way, if we destroy the planet, what kind of market we will have in some years? Even banking area is forced sometimes to make several changes. And there are several banks today that in order to make a loan to business, they have a protocol they have to follow to decide if this money would be used in a social and environmental responsible way. So if the clients that want to have some money to do business with the money that they have from the bank don't follow some strict protocols to say that what they are doing with the money will protect the environment and protect social aspects, they don't get the money anymore. So things are changing, maybe not so fast as we'd like to have, but they are happening. Let's hope we'll still have some time to save the planet.
Yeah, we should believe that all those efforts will come together. So the consumer change, the industry change, which is, as you mentioned, driven by the flow of finance. Actually, the European Green Deal with the sustainable finance framework is this kind of a protocol which is just entering into force. So we believe that shortly we will really see the change, and the producers will knock to your doors, I mean engineers and art designers, more frequently. Do we have any other questions from the audience, or some reflections, or some anxieties?
Thank you so much for the, interesting topic. I always ask myself a question: why we cannot prevent plastic bottles? As my colleague mentioned, we all drink in plastic every single day, and my other colleague mentioned the companies. There are some companies, they provide you like bottle of glasses or whatever. You use it and you take it back, and they will refill it for you, and you can bring it back. I think this is not a solution. Solution must be from the government and companies. We as a consumers, we should have a control. Somebody control us. So I believe it should start from the government and from the companies. Producing something replaces plastic. And I always think we have hundreds of universities, thousands of researchers. How come we are in 2024 and we cannot fix this? We cannot find something to replace plastic, basically. I always ask myself this question. So what would be the answer for that? Thank you.
Anyone? No one dares to. I'm just, looking at the table and I feel a plastic shame at the moment. And I also have a private bottle of water, which is plastic. So yeah, that's a challenging question. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a metal bottle inside my backpack. I didn't brought it here, but I refill it all the time when I want to drink water.
I also have a metal bottle, but I'm talking about general places. Sometimes in the airport, in the plane, in I don't know, daily uses. Sometimes you cannot hold it for the morning to evening. So I'm talking about the other people.
No, I liked your question. I just mentioning this because if you have an aluminium bottle, that's also probably another problem, because aluminium is also not very good for the health. So it's better to have steel, stainless steel. But this is also heavy. It's another problem. Yeah. But when Monica invited me to this panel, and I would like to come back to Lucas' question because it was also very provocative. If I think about art, probably the different kinds of art that influence a lot in terms of destroying the planet is the production of movies. Because if we as consumers are trying to copy the model of consumption from the North American continent, especially the United States, we need 5 planets to keep the resources we need to keep all the production. And where's this style of consuming or behaving comes from? Probably from films that we watched And we are attracted to this style of a living and behaving copied from the United States, because the art of producing films there probably reached a level that is watched everywhere. Even in China, probably people are copying the style of living from Americans because of films. I don't know. So if we want to re-educate ourselves in terms of consumption, we need a different approach in terms of cultural models that want to copy it, not just the model from the United States. And these things probably started there because plastic is very cheap, and we are just following, as Monica said, it's very difficult to change. As soon as we have some habits, I use a lot of psychological approaches for my studies. As soon as we have some habits, it's very difficult to break it. And it's the same for the companies, airline companies. It's easy to have some plastic bottles to offer water for people in the planes.
Can we not mix it with papers or with something else to produce something new? I mean, is there any researchers, like people, I mean, researchers mix papers with plastic or mix it with glasses? I mean, are there any researchers like this?
You mean for water?
For anything. I mean,
yeah, there are different kinds of packaging, as Magdalena said, that are in process of development. But then it depends on the costs. Then we need economists, not just the designers, and then we need also people that understand from the chemical composition of things to understand how this can last in the market. Because if we produce a packaging from paper for food, it will be damaged very soon. Plastic, you can use it for hundreds of years to have food inside.
Thank you very much.
So it's not easy to answer your question, but I would start with cultural change.
Okay, any other reflections from the audience?
Just briefly, two comments, because I know we are running out of time. And this goes back to your point, Professor. I was just thinking during the presentation, what could be the role of social influencers, for example, in shaping the behavior of consumers to actually adapt or use these kind of products. And the second comment, and the second one is somehow related to my colleague's comment, and it's also, I would say, a best practice example from Romania, because last year we introduced that plastic fee for bottles. So every time when we buy water, we pay 50 cents for these, and this has changed drastically the way in which people recycle. I was just checking some statistics. So up today, 80 million bottles were recycled, and since they introduced this fee. And I think this speaks highly about the kind of implications that government institutions may have on determining consumers how to behave. Thank you.
Should I start? Okay. Again, governments are pushed by votes. So if the population sometimes, depending on the country, don't want to have something, governments don't change what they should do. So it depends on government, yes, but depends on the culture in the country. Because of these fees that we have for some kinds of packagings, I think from my experience here in Europe, I see that in Germany things works very well. You have different kinds of fees for different kinds of packaging, And the rate of recycling there is very high because people want to have their money back. There's a very interesting way in psychology to say that if you want to change the behavior, try to touch the pocket of people, and then people will start thinking if they really want to do this. And I was in Ireland a few weeks ago doing my data collection there, and as soon as they put a fee for plastic bags in supermarkets, no one wanted to have plastic bags from the supermarket anymore. So it's a very complex way to try to see how consumers change their habit using different kinds of influence, not just the government, but also economical incentives of punishment as well.
Okay, as we are running out of time, so that was the final comment. Maybe just to summarize, via the questions from the audience, we see how complex it is, that we need to mix really not only economics, maybe with arts, which was a challenge of this panel actually, to link economics and arts, but also social sciences, cultural behavior, and so on. With this pressure, I think it's worth to end up this discussion with something recalled by Kleber, the Stern report, which is actually titled Economics of Climate Change, by the way, and pointed on the need of international efforts, yes, to avoid this single country level problem. One country will not drive the change. One person will not drive the change. This must be a complex and collaborative activity. Thank you so much. Thank you, my panelists. It was a great pleasure to host you.
Thank you so much for this interesting panel. Thank you to all of our panelists and our audience. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we start at 9:50, so the same as today. See you. Bye.